Here's a little epilogue to add to this series, Telling the Truth in the Dark. It just occurred to me, listening back to the other 3 installments, that this would be timely. By way of updates, after completing the 3rd in the series, I tossed and turned until about 8:30 a.m., slept for 3 hours, and pushed through the rest of today, eyes unblinking, exhausted, and if all goes well in the next 15 minutes, I should be able to hit the sack at the close of this epilogue. This installment won't be about me. I've said enough about me and realized that my need to make these video testaments is usually provoked by the need to be heard by anyone after having been either dismissed or ignored by the one whose attentions I seek. So you guys are all my surrogate until I can right the ship. Speaking of writing, these did yield 2 more blog entries, one of which is a poem entitled The Master. Be read at littlebarefeetblog.com. The subject of which I suppose turned out to be moot, but at least it produced another one of my masterpieces, for the memoir before I croak this earth. You might enjoy it. A friend of mine whose standards I really value, and who has high ones, thinks it's terrific. So if he thinks it's good enough for you to read, maybe you would enjoy reading it. littlebarefeetblog.com. But the topic that I'm going to be addressing for this epilogue is the coronavirus pandemic's expression in northwestern Pennsylvania, Erie County, PA. Ours is an insular community. As far back as I have any memory, most everyone around here, I would say, this is going to cut some people, lacks a worldview. At least they always did. They were entrenched, nationally represented ghettos of people, second generation, usually Europeans, and they were content. No need to go anywhere outside of the county borders. A vacation was a trip to Pittsburgh or Disney World or Vegas. And in large part, for that generation, it still is. So we're insular, but traveling, if any, is to be enjoyed by people who live in our county. It's less likely to be across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and far more likely to cross the border into Ohio or Western New York or Toronto. So the need to establish COVID-19 guidelines for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that includes all the counties. I could have told you. I've been crowing about it for weeks. Our numbers are escalating. Now that the surrounding counties are in yellow, moving to green, we're going to stay in yellow because our numbers keep going up exponentially in the past 5 days. It's encroaching in almost every nursing home within 3 miles of my house, and people were observed having yard parties, several cars parked, nobody wearing a mask. And today, on one of our Facebook pages that is community-based, oh, the heat I took for putting out my protocol for being fastidious. I got ripped a new one upside down and sideways by so many people that don't know me. I was accused of being a snitch about a party that was taking place in a basement of someone's house, accused of being a cop in disguise. So I came right out and said, look, I had 4,000 students in this community. I'm a retired teacher. But anyway, we're in the midst of escalating numbers. And people are still calling it a scam. We still get the, what virus? I'm just going to live my life. I'm going to the beach. Why should I listen to you? That's what's going on. Which makes it even more frightening. In the early stages, the focus was easy. We were in crisis mode. Nobody's numbers were up yet except New York State and, the East Coast, California. But we were all anticipating it, so we all stayed home. We had the strict red phase stay-at-home orders. It was easier because we were all required to stay home except for groceries and sundries. Now we're in the phase of uncertainty, where people are pretty much allowed to behave according to their own desires. And now the truth comes out. Who really knows how to be careful? Who thinks they do? Who doesn't want to hear what someone else is doing? Who doesn't want to be restricted by those who know the most about it are doing? I see a direct correlation here. The degree to which you understand the scope of this threat is directly correlated to the degree to which you are fastidious about being sanitary and solitary. So these coming days will be very telling. I took so much heat. Oh, I spent probably the better part of this afternoon just fielding it. Fielding all the onslaught. And that's what I thought I would add. Telling the truth in the dark. P.S. We're in the thick of it now. If 35 to 40% of those infected are asymptomatic, they don't feel sick and they don't know they're sick, then why in the world would anybody risk the contagion, either giving or receiving? We can't do what we want. We can't whine about what we miss about our normalcy. I don't care if 86% of those who contract it do okay. The statistics mean nothing because the distribution is random. I don't want to be one of those who ends up on a vent fighting for my life. I'm not scared of it. I just don't want to be one of those people. I guess it really boils down to how much do you value your own life and how much do you just want to be here when it's over? They say only the strong survive, but what about only the strong-willed? Those who are determined to fight it off by avoiding it. The Bible says somewhere, he who loveth his life shall lose it. Don't love your life too much, but have respect for it. Have respect for the body you've been given to live in. There's more to live for. Staying at home alone gives you the opportunity to find out what that is. And a lot of people are uncomfortable with themselves. They need to be around others so that they don't have to think about themselves. I did that for many years by working as a workaholic. But being alone with yourself is something that should be valued. So lay hold of that. Get enough sleep. Go to bed, like my father used to say, so you can get up in the morning, which is what I'm going to do right now. It's 8 minutes after 2 a.m. This is usually when I'm sleeping, and off I go. Be prudent. Pay attention. Seek out accurate information, and don't let anybody talk you down or ridicule or criticize how you make your decision. Just be sure that the decision you make is in the better interests of those around you and out of respect for the value of your own life. Thanks again for tuning in. This has been Telling the Truth in the Dark, RuthAnnTALKS.